Many hope a national historic trail will help tell the story of former slaves in the aftermath of emancipation, specifically their journey from Galveston to new homes right here in Houston. Jason Miles has a closer look.
Modern new facilities stand in Houston's historic Emancipation Park, the final stop of what might become the Emancipation National Historic Trail.
And we're also excited about it, about the attention that we're getting from the world, about an opportunity to resurrect our historical memory.
Naomi Mitchell-Carrier founded the Texas Center for African American Living History in Houston, and her research helped shape the idea for a so-called Emancipation Trail. Not the kind of trail you walk on in a park, but a 51-mile route from Galveston to Houston that roughly follows the path of freed slaves after their emancipation.
It will be a heritage tourism attraction with sites along the way where people can stop and learn the history of those sites, the stories behind them.
Earlier this year, the president signed this bipartisan bill clearing the way for a study, of which Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee said, quote, "This Emancipation Trail will become only the second in the history of the United States to commemorate the history of African Americans. Something Senator John Cornyn said would, quote, celebrate their legacy and remind future generations of how far our nation has come."
And it's really what happened, and it doesn't sort of sugarcoat it.
Galveston Historical Foundation Director Dwayne Jones is excited about the educational and tourism potential for the island, since a number of the more than 40 sites that would be part of the trail are already acknowledged, including the former site of the Osterman Building on the Strand, where Texas slaves were first informed of their freedom by Union troops 2.5 years after they were legally emancipated.
So I think it's going to be real exciting for people to attach the storylines and the history to real places and real experiences.
Experiences of actual people no American should forget. In Houston, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.